Okay, we're in the process of finishing up some of the detail. The next few videos we'll be doing that. I use this little micro V tool, and we're going to do the hat. Now, the top of the hat, as you can see on this one more clearly, I have one going down and then across, going across the top. So one down the center and then a crisscross at the top. And what I do, and that's about maybe 1/8 of an inch wide. What we're going to do here is we're going to take the V tool, and I kind of marked it already. I don't know if you can see that really well, but I wet it. I made it a little bit wet so that it would work a little bit better. I just want to share this with you for a second. With the micro tools, what I did was I bought a piece of leather, and I took my tool and I dug out exactly all the way across the length of it, so it would be exactly the shape of my V tool, and then I put some compound in it. Then I used it as a strop. Then I flipped it over, and then the corner here, because this is laying on top of the wood, I adjusted some of these strops a little bit. I would take it across just like so. Okay, so I can do the inside and the outside with this, and it's important to keep this tool very, very sharp if you can, because if you don't, it's going to start tearing and digging out stuff. So once you get these micro tools, if you buy any, make sure that you take the time in making sure you keep them honed up on a strop. It will just keep you from taking it to another measure to keep them sharp. So on either side of this line, I'm going to take my little V tool, and I'm just going, notice I have my thumb resting on it, and I'm going to go very close to the front there. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to go the other way, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the hat there. Alright, so that's number one, and we're going to do another line right next to it. So it has a little bit of a, I don't know if you can see that, it's a little on the dark side, but I mean the wood is kind of dark because of spraying it. Again, you want to be careful using that stuff, because if it gets too wet and it dries too quickly, it's going to check on you. Okay, so we have two lines going across that way. Then in the center here, I'm going to go across, and I'm going to come down. I'm going to do the same thing over here. V-tools are nice and handy for this kind of thing. You can do it with a knife if you don't have a V-tool. Just put a stop cut going across and then bring your line up and then rounding it off. So if you don't have a V-tool, you can do this with a knife. Let me explain that real quick. Just take your knife and go across, okay, then come up and cut it, and then you're going to have a square edge there, so you're just going to round off that square edge. So you'll get the same effects as doing this, or you can cut it on either side if you want, a little bit at an angle, and take it up and across, and then do the same angle at the other side, and it will be like the V tool. I never used these much in the past, but man, I'll tell you, I just fell in love with these things. They just absolutely make things so much easier doing the hair, and you know, there's a lot of things you can do to make it much easier to carve. Okay, so we're going to go about 1/8 of an inch along that side again, and we're going to bring this right down. For the sake of time, I'll show you, I'll do half this hat, and then I'll do the other half later. And here's the other line here. I think I already did that. Yeah, I did. So what you want to do after you get those lines cut, you want to take your, I like this little detailed knife, and I'm going to go down and just cut it out. Make this flatter so that this portion sticks up right here. Okay, that these little trim on the hat sticks up. So that's what you're going to have to do, is go back and kind of blend that in. Okay, I did that side, and I turn it over, and I get rid of that little edge there that it created. so it looks like it's completely flat. Alright, same thing in the back here, over there, and chop that out. And so when you're done, you have a flat surface in between each one of these. Okay, same thing with the front of the hat here. You know, this is the edge you want to get rid of. I don't know if you can see that. This is the edge you want to get rid of right there. So you're just going to take your knife and kind of trim that off. Alright. And so I just, I found it's a little easier to do it with the V-tool, a little quicker. And then I just blend it in. And see how we have that little edge there for the hat. And that's all you do. And you do these two, and then you go across and you do the other side the same way. I'll do that offline to save us some time. The next thing we're going to do the ears. The way I do my ears are with a very small little gouge. Let's see if I can find it over here. This is the one, yes. I like these. The tools that I use are called Dockyard micro tools, micro gouges, and they're kind of expensive. I bought mine in a 6-pack or a 5-pack and a 4-pack, all V tools, and one was all gouges, different sizes of V tools. And there's really only 2 or 3 that I use consistently all the time, but I do use the others occasionally. They often tell you to buy just the ones that you feel that you need at the time, and I would suggest that. But if you're going to pay $15, $20 for one, and it costs $45 for the pack, you can do the math. It would be cheaper to buy the whole pack and have all of it in case you needed it. But if you can't afford that, then I would just buy one larger V tool and a couple of a small gouge and a little bit wider gouge. Probably those 3 are the ones I would probably use the most. And this one is a G7 that I'm going to use if you're going by number. So what I want to do here is I take a little bit of spray, and I'm going to take that little bit of, if you don't take that little bit of lead pencil marks off, it will show through the paint. So you want to be careful of that. Alright, so let's do this real quick. I'll do one ear and I'll do the other ear offline, so to save some time. So what I'll do is I'll go up here a little bit off, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and I'll just take this little gouge and I'll just gouge that out right up to the top there, and then come down here and kind of go around and then turn it around and then do the bottom portion. Okay, and then what I do here is I'm going to take my knife, I'm just going to push it in there just a little bit. Alright, and that will be my little stop cut, and then take my little gouge and I just gouge out a little piece there. Alright, and that's really our ear. Let me do a little bit deeper where I can see it. Okay, so that's our ear. So all you do is dig out a little hole, and then you do this little thing. Now you can also go back and you can trim off the ear a little bit. You know, get rid of that edge if you want. Might look a little better. But that's how I do the ears for now. So it's taking the gouge and going around the outside and then making your hole in the center. Alright, so that's your ear. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, oh, we're running out of time. I'll be right back.